I'm also, we're writing about it in our Maplewood Living just a little bit as part of my end-year report, so that people will realize that that change has been made. And that, you know, one of the reasons we decided to create that position is just because Chief Schnell has a real talent for looking at things differently and innovation and looking for new efficiencies in how we deliver our services. And I know Chief Lucan is going to talk about his budget. This year, you know, you'll see there's little ebbs and flows in employees. Some departments are down employees. The fire department this year is actually asking for 2 new staff members. And I wanted to just point that out. So you'll see an increase in Mr. Lucan's budget. Approximately 50% of that increase comes from the cost of 2 new firefighters, but we're also working from new revenue, we hope, that's on the agenda for you to look at this evening, to help defray the cost of those new employees. And the one thing that I wanted to point out is, as we have been looking at departments and continually trying to find efficiencies in our departments and how we finance them and how we make them more sustainable, one of the things that Public Safety Director Schnell is going to be working on with Chief Lucan is looking at our staffing and current staffing needs and evaluate how that looks in terms of our operations. And can we do better? Can we do things differently, more efficiently, more effectively? So that's first on the first quarter for Chief Schnell and Chief Lucan. And just to also tie that to the additional two firefighters, full-time firefighters. These are not, as I understand, going to be 24-hour shift firefighters, at least not at this time. But we are going to reserve judgment on that until the staffing study is completed, which will be done by, we hope, by the first quarter of 2016. So we would like to leave those positions in the budget. We think we're going to need them no matter what we do with our staffing plan, but they may be different than what we currently have in our full-time makeup. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview on how and why that's happening. And Mayor, I'd like to have you turn it over to Chief Lucan.
Yeah, City Manager Coleman, why don't you remind us about the staffing study? Who's doing that?
Actually, Chief Schnell will be leading that. We may go to an outside consultant for specific types of research and input. But for the most part, Chief Schnell will be leading that with the fire staff.
So sort of looking at trends and what's happening and
yes,
nationally and statewide and so forth. Okay.
Yeah, and there are some people out there who just specialize in staffing needs, and Chief Schnell has connected with some people who do that in our own area. So
expertise.
I think we're going to be in good shape.
Okay, thank you. Chief Lucan.
Mayor, Council, thank you very much. The fire department submitted their proposed budget of 2016 to the amount of $4,529,320. This is, as Council Member, or excuse me, as City Manager Coleman mentioned, 4.6% higher than our 2015 budget. The areas that we cover under that is basically emergency management. We do our administration from there. We do our fire prevention as well as the EMS, and also our fire suppression that goes along with that. Could have the overhead or the...
Oh,
Whoa,
that was
that was good, but I didn't do that. Yeah, I know.
like
That's
the invisible.
There you go, Nick.
I heard they're disappearing before your very eyes, but
Yeah, no, it's like we're watching cartoons. I don't know. That was odd.
Well, while they're doing that, Council and Mayor, one other thing I would like to point out, too, is that also in there we put some of the 2015 accomplishments for the department. And out of those that are in there, the one that I really would like to bring to the forefront is our cardiac arrest recovery rate. Back in 2012, and you can measure this many ways, but how we measure ours is that we go from the time that you have a sudden cardiac arrest to the day you walk out of the hospital. Many departments and EMS services will do it just getting you to the hospital with a pulse. We take it all the way through because we think it's that important. And we, in 2012, our rate rest was 4.5%. And in 2014, we've made a huge increase in that to 13.8%. So 13.8% of cardiac arrests that we attribute walk out of the hospital at the end of their time. So I wish I could take credit for that, but I can't.